Good morning. This is Yolanda, Hinton, host of FYI Morning Show Live, along with co-host Edward Everett, aka Mr. E.
And a pleasant good morning to you. Thank you so very, very much. It's a beautiful day in the 757, and we're happy. I mean, as a lot, the sun is shining, and the temperature feels so wonderful.
It's absolutely beautiful here. We've been looking forward to the warm. It's been cold this winter in the Hampton Roads area, but I tell you what, God is faithful, and I tell you what, as we near the springtime, He gives us that nice weather. You know, it may go back down, Mr. E, but right now we are happy. We can expect the 70s throughout this week, and we just bless the Lord for that. The sun is shining, and I'm very happy to see spring getting closer and closer to us. Not trying to rush things, but I tell you what, like I said, it was a cold winter, and I'm telling you, I'm ready for a little bit warm. We want to welcome our platforms: Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok is with us. Make sure you all like, share, comment, and subscribe, please. You can go over to our YouTube, our newest FYI radio show over there at YouTube. And you can always go to Crystal Records, CRISTO Records 1 over there at YouTube. TikTok. Thank you all for joining us. Those that are on other platforms and want to see us through the TikTok platform, it's Hinton, YHINTON. Make sure you go over there and follow us. We promise we'll follow you back. And we're thankful for you all joining us. Thank you so much for your support. So, Mr. E, we want to just thank our sponsors real quick. Bulvic Academy, BULVIC Academy.com. Y'all check that out. And Beard Gods, BEARDGODZ. Make sure you all check out Beard Gods as well. Mr. E, it's hump day.
That's right. It's hump day. Just before we go into our segment, just want to let everybody know that you set your clock forward this Sunday. Remember, fall, we get ready to go into daylight saving time, but don't forget to set your clock forward, spring forward, fall back. So this, and I know a lot of people are talking this internet. They saying, well, I got that automated one, that automatic comes in. For those who don't have that automatic one, don't forget to set your clock forward. Yes, you're going to lose an hour's sleep, but guess what? You'll be liking it because it'll be lighter in the daytime and the evening time. So, hey, let's do that.
Absolutely. I tell you what, that's another wonderful, wonderful thing happening is that we're going to have more sun longer. And that makes me very happy as well. Mr. E, is hump day. You all should be up and popping. It's the middle of the week. And this is FYI Morning Show's segment, What's Under the Hat? Issues concerning you men. But guess what, Mr. E? We're going to do a tribute to our very special guest. He's author. He's Dr. Hezekiah Brown. We want to say good morning to you.
We shall overcome.
Dr. Brown, how you doing this morning?
Thank God I'm
doing good. I think he froze. But anyway, Mr. E. Hezekiah Brown, Dr. Hezekiah Brown is the author of some fabulous books. I love those books. I have both of those books, The Case for Reparations and Conflict Resolution. So many things. We just want to honor you today. You have accomplished so many things. This is not something you just started. Let's get a little bit of your history, where you're from, and let's talk a little bit about your journey, Dr. Brown.
You had me so concerned
Yes.
about you.
Yes, it's been a journey that's most surprising to me,
I
my
was
family,
concerned about you.
and everyone else.
Because the last time we chatted,
I was
you told
born
me about your wife.
in poverty in a little place called Pritchard, Alabama. And it was 11 in my family. And it was 11 who lived in a 4-room house, not 4 bedrooms, 4-room house, which included a kitchen. Okay. And then, unfortunately, my mother and father separated early in life after 10, 11 kids, and my father disappeared for 25 years. We never heard a word from where he was. And it was just one of those things where we were a group of young people that no one expected us to be anything. Everybody looked down on us, me and my brothers, and everybody looked down on us. And then, you know, as God would get into our life, as God has moved us, he moved all of us into a position that we never, ever thought we would be in. We surprised a lot of people who didn't want the kids to play with us when we were growing up. We surprised them by joining large organizations, business people, doctors, attorneys. All these things here came from that little place in Pritchard, Alabama. So then we moved on to Buffalo, New York, and we lived in Buffalo, New York for about 18 years. And it's because I had a great sister who took the place of my mother. My sister sent for all of us to come from Alabama to Buffalo to join with her. She had a place for us to stay. She fed us until we could find a job, and she helped us did all of that. She was like our second mother in that respect. And every single one in the family had an opportunity to go to Teresa's house. She helped all of us. And again, it's been a terrific life. It's been good. And we surprised ourselves. We surprised the world in terms of the goals that we've reached, not thinking that we could do anything.
That is absolutely marvelous. A wonderful support system and the encouragement to follow your dream. You've done so many things. You've been in the military. Is that right, Dr. Brown?
Yeah, I've been in the military. You know, the thing is, where we lived, everybody grew up not to go to college. We grew up thinking that the place to go was in the Army. That was the only way out for us. So when I turned 18 years old, I turned 18 on June 21st, which is my birthday. On the 3rd of July, I was in the United States Army. And believe it or not, one of the things that happened, again, that I never suspected was going to happen, I jumped out of airplanes, you know, because I just wanted to be at the top of everything. And so one day we was out on the baseball field, and they came and said, listen, says, pack up, we going to Little Rock, Arkansas. No, they said, pack up and get on, you going to jump. So we said, okay, fine, we'll jump and we'll come back. But anyway, we got on the plane. They said, you are going to Little Rock, Arkansas. We never knew that until we got on the plane. And this was in 1957 during the integration of Central High School at that time. And you hear people talk now about the Little Rock Nine. Yes. And we were all a part of that. The only thing is that's significant here is that you never hear anyone talk about the Black soldiers who was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Some of the Little Rock Nine never knew that we were there until 50 years later. So one of the biggest secrets in town is the fact that there were Black soldiers in Little Rock, Arkansas. As a matter of fact, the other day I saw a story about Little Rock, Arkansas, and I said, you know, that's something they still do not acknowledge, that we were in Little Rock, Arkansas, but we were there and we did whatever we had to do to try to help the situation along. However, when we got there, they said, well, the Black soldiers stay on the truck and the white soldiers get off. Yes. They let us know then that we were not going into town to guard the students who were going to school at that point in time. But I was very fortunate that I was able to spend time 50 years later when I went back to Little Rock, Arkansas, celebrating the celebration of the Little Rock Nine 50 years later. My wife and I went there, and we were able for the first time to meet all of the Little Rock Nine, to take pictures, to talk about it, you know, and so it was good. So that was part of my life, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to get recognition for all of the Black soldiers who was there.
That is marvelous. In your history, it says that you have been the first in numerous instances. You have
Right.
worked at every level of the government, including serving as CEO of a family-owned and operated conflict resolution consulting business.
Mhm.
Played a significant role in electing the first African American judge in the city of Buffalo, New York. First African American New York State Assemblyman in the city of Buffalo, and it goes on and on and on. I'd like to know, how did you get to Elizabeth City and what things were accomplished in Elizabeth City, North Carolina?
We are in 2003. As a matter of fact, at the time, I was the deputy county executive in Nassau County. We got 2.1 million residents there. I want to tell you this story too, because in 2001, I also ran for mayor of Hempstead, New York, and I lost running for mayor. And that's the reason I said you never know what God has planned for you. So I
Yes.
lost for mayor, and I was really depressed and saddened by losing. But guess what? In November that same year, there's a guy who's in Congress now. His name is Tom Swazi. He was running for county executive. And so we supported him. We galvanized the Black community in order for him to win the election. And I was one of his first appointees as a deputy county executive, and the only Democrat ever appointed that served in that position as deputy county executive. And it was another part of my life, that place that I never expected that I would get, because I keep getting surprised by all of these things that
Wow.
God had planned for me, that I had no idea that it would be there. So that's part of the life itself. And I know you asked me to ask the question again, so I got kind of sidetracked there. So
Yes. Elizabeth City,
okay, yeah.
yes. How did you find yourself there and what things were accomplished in Elizabeth City?
Well, okay, then in 2003, I retired from the deputy county executive position and moved to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where my wife had a brother, had some relatives who lived there. So we decided to do that. So prior to that, we went down for his family, for his housewarming. And there was a lot of property around, and so on. So while we were there, we looked around, but we bought, like, I think it was 6 lots as an investment, just to say, well, this place is growing. So we bought six lots. Well, we bought 6 lots, and believe it or not, the same guy who we bought the lots from came back and paid us twice as much money to buy for the lots back. Yeah. So we kept 2. And then when we got ready to retire, my wife said to me, well, where are we going? We're going to Elizabeth City. That's where we're going. So we came to Elizabeth City, and we designed and built our own home in Elizabeth City. But once I got to Elizabeth City, there are some more firsts that I should talk about.
Yes.
I was instrumental in electing the first African-American female to the position. Was
Yes.
involved in electing the first African-American mayor in Elizabeth City. Again, I brought years of experience with me to Elizabeth City. I had nothing to lose. All I had to do was work in the community, and we were able to elect these folks to position. As a matter of fact, the African American female who was elected, her name was Betty Parker, and she won the first election and then ran unopposed the next time around. That's just how good she was. Yeah. So I did in Elizabeth City. I did some programs that they never heard of before. We brought Black folks and white folks together for a conference to talk about race relationships, and we were absolutely great. While I was there, I also established a radio program called Around Town with Hes Brown, which you guys are aware. And that
Yes.
program was to talk about positive things that was happening in the community. We started a 100 Black Men chapter
Yes.
in Elizabeth City. It's just so many things that we did while we were there, because I finally had some time to do some of the things that I wanted to. And then we went to the schools. We taught conflict resolution in the schools. We taught conflict resolution in college. We taught conflict resolution in the city. So as I said again, God has given me these skills and talents, And I didn't look for pay for these things. I wanted to do it because it was something good to do and something that needed to be done.
Yes. That is a mighty, mighty story and a wonderful journey that continues. I want to shout out First Lady, Mrs. Brown. And I was looking on your page, Dr. Brown, and saw your beginnings, your marriage, your wife just going year to year with you. You know, there's a saying behind every woman, there's a good man, but behind every good man, there's a good woman. We just want to say hello to Mrs. Brown and just tell us a little bit about that journey with her as you accomplish these things.
Well, you know, my wife was never behind me. She never was in front of me. She always was at my side.
I love that.
And I give her credit for anything that I've accomplished because, you know, I used to tell people that my wife raised 3 kids. She raised my son, my daughter, and me. And she did a great job in doing that. And next month, we will be celebrating 66 years of marriage. Yeah. And she's just been a real star. I mean, she's just been a wonderful person who supported me, and she just said always she was in the background. I don't want to be out front. She did this, but even sometime in politics, I was always was a political animal, but she hated politics. But she came along, I like politics, so we used to open our house up to people running for senator, running for president of the United States, and all they came to our house in Hempstead. Anybody running for office, they came to our house, and she was there being supportive, and she took care of our kids. I mean, she's a blessing.
Yes, absolutely.
When you decided that you would like in politics, and you see politics then, how do you treat politics now?
Well, I treat politics now, I treat it from the sideline for a sense and listen to a lot of the stuff that's going on. And I just don't understand the public being able to digest the kind of thing that's going on, because a lot of people, old as I am, but they still following the wrong trail.
Yes.
It's apparently that people, as I said again, I often say about many, not all politicians, but many politicians don't give a damn about the people. They care about getting reelected. And whatever it takes to get reelected, that's what they do instead of being concerned about the people they represent. So as I see politics now, I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to see it kind of go back to where people are concerned, politicians are concerned about people as opposed to themselves. But I certainly hope so, because we're in a dilemma now that I don't know if we could ever climb out during my lifetime. Yes. Because it's not about, and this is just Hez Brown perception, it's not about what I think and what I see, but it's all about the mighty dollar. Whatever is going to turn over a dollar for somebody, for some elected official or somebody that friends or so like that, they do it. And so what they're doing, there's a separation of poor people and rich people. And they're still pushing down. I don't know what they're going to do with all the money that they're going to have. They can't take it with them, I don't say. So I'm just saying that that's where we are. And we have people now who are suffering in terms of health care, in terms of food, in terms of wealth, all these things that people are suffering. And they still pushing to get more money in their pocket. And that's the reason I'm saying this. It's the difference in when I came along. There were people who cared about people. That's why they got involved. That's why I got involved, because I cared about people. But there are people now don't care about people. They care about it. What's in it for me? And that's the real problem.
You did some stuff with conflict resolutions. Now, in the world today, we got a lot of conflicts going on all over the world, from the White House to Iran's house to all over the world, to Mexico, you name it. How would you resolve some of the conflicts that are going on in the world today?
Well, first of all, conflict resolution, when we use that word widely, it's very difficult to do because you're asking people to step out of where they are into another body in terms of doing that.
Yes.
And I'm just saying to you is that in order to resolve conflict, you gotta want to resolve conflict.
Yes.
These folks today, they don't want to resolve conflict. They operate on power. And long as they have the power to do something, they will beat you, they will kill you, they will shoot you, they will do anything. But if people want to resolve conflict, they have to sit at the table. And the first thing they have to do at the table is be able to exchange position with the other side. Given the same circumstance and the same condition, what would I do under those? You have to literally want to change the position with the other side. You can see their point of view. And then you have to take a look at yourself. Could I have contributed to the problem? What did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? Or did I say something wrong? And simply put, people say things a lot of times that I know all of us have said something that we wish we could take back. But people say things and you can't roll it back. And when you can't roll it back, people are unwilling to say, I apologize. Be willing to apologize if you know you did something wrong. Be willing to do that, And the other thing is that people need to do, if you're going to resolve conflict, you got to develop good listening skills.
Yes.
God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we're supposed to listen more than we talk. But people now are unable to sit at the table and understand the other person's or the other group problem. They don't understand it. They only focus on themselves. So I think that my problem is now as I get older is that people are moving away from solving simple disputes.
Yes.
In the world today, 51% of the folks who get married now will end up in divorce. 51%. Because they are unable to resolve simple disputes. They are unable to forgive, Because I say to everybody, we all do things wrong, but by the same token, it's a few things that I think that people should do. If you did something wrong, be willing to, in your heart, to forgive the person for what you did wrong. Be willing to apologize when you do something wrong to somebody. My father taught me when I was growing up, said, well, if you do something, you never apologize.
Wow.
You apologize. He said, this was his rationale. Because if you apologize, it means that you did something wrong. Think about what you're going to do before you do it. If you do it, that's it. That's the end of it. That was the worst thing he ever taught me about life, was to talk about never forgiving people. All right?
Absolutely. As you look at your journey and you've gone to conferences, organizations, businesses, individual, people, couples, families, when you walk away from the situation, do you say, that turned out well, or I can't fix that? What kind of things did you think as you finished?
Let me say this to you. That I'm a former federal mediator. Again, one of the positions I never heard of what they did before I became one. All right. Mm-hmm. One of the things about being a mediator is that your goal is to help people, assist people in resolving disputes. And while you're a mediator, you also become a teacher to teach people about conflict. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is one of the most successful processes in the world. I think it's around 93% of people who go to mediation resolve their disputes.
Wow.
Now you would think that, well, wait a minute, this process here works, Do you hear anyone now talking about, let's call in a third party in all of this and see if they can help us resolve this? They always operate from money and power. They don't do it. So I'm just saying that people now are more or less become more strained and away from talking about how to resolve conflict. But this is it's a beautiful process. It's a process that works. It's a process that gives people an opportunity to state their position, and it gives an opportunity for them to listen, because the mediator is going to take control to make sure that the parties are listening to each other. If they can't listen, then the mediator is able to separate them and help them resolve disputes. I just wish that in my lifetime that I could get conflict resolution as part of the school curriculum, where kids start learning from the time they enter from K through 12 how to resolve disputes. I think if you get something like that, what it would really do, it would help a lot of people. And if you take that for 12 years, when you get out of high school and go into college and other places, and you've been having 12 years of conflict resolution, and then when you go into the workplace, because a lot of those same bad habits that people have now, it goes right into the workplace.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If we had a way to convince some of the school boards across the country to implement it as part of the school curriculum, you wouldn't have as many kids killing each other, many kids fighting all the time, and many people name calling all the time, because most of these things start from somebody just calling somebody a name.
Absolutely.
You know, and they don't understand that this tongue that we have, you know what I mean, and it can hurt people more than if you strike somebody.
You listen to FYI Radio Show with our special guest, none other than Mr. Hez Brown, Dr. Hez Brown. The host of FYI is no longer, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. If you'd like to be a special guest or sponsor, you can give us a call at 757-714-7861, or you can email us at FYIRadioShowLive@gmail.com, or you can inbox us, FYI Edward Everette, Miss Yolanda, Lady Hinton, or FYI inbox. Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, is the host, and don't forget, you are listening to Mr. Hez Brown on FYI.
All right. Yes. So we're going to continue to talk about it. Conflict resolution. That's one of your books, Dr. Brown. A wonderful book. I love that book. We're going to tell our listeners and viewers how they can receive that book in a little bit. But you mentioned some key points, and you mentioned that mediation is one of the keys in resolving issues. I wish people would get the book, read the book, and move toward solutions. You know, as we look at our world now, I'm like you, Dr. Brown. I don't think people are trying to fix anything. It's just about money and power. And where is that going to leave us as a country? So I really recommend this book to our followers, along with another book that I love as well. We read it around here. My husband reads it, The Case for Reparations. Let's talk about that book and you as an author. When did you decide to write?
Well, you know, I decided to. I got, by the way, since I've last talked to you, my total now is 4 books.
Ooh.
One is All Conflict Can Be Resolved.
Yes.
And this one here addresses what's going on now. It's Resolving Conflicts in a Global Economy. That's the second book. And A Case for Reparation is something that I wrote from my heart, because all the things that we have given as African Americans to this country, all the things that we have did, all the suffering we did, all of the people who are still benefiting from slavery, I said, I need to write something because they owe us something.
Yes.
They owe us something. And I'm not saying exactly what it is. I'm not suggesting that give nobody $5 million, but there are a number of programs. In this book on A Case for Reparation, I have given 10 things that they could do, and most of them are already in place, you know, where when people can decide that, and I give you one illustration of where they're in, is that teaching African-American history is part of the school curriculum.
Yes.
Teach it to everybody, Black kids, white kids, everybody, because that's something that's important if they understand, because people are saying now, oh, I didn't have anything to do with it. I wasn't part of slavery. They don't understand they're benefiting from slavery in terms of where they are.
Yes.
So just that alone is teaching that as part of the history. Instead, we got people going the other way now, trying to get rid of the history of the Black person because they know what we did, you know. And there are programs, you know, like the early childhood programs. Refund those programs, because there are many of our people in our community who are single family parents, and they need to pick this stuff up early in life in school And one of the most successful programs that's been around has the early childhood, where those kind of programs are being cut. All right. I mean, this is part of all of my, what I call part of a reparation, is to fund these programs. Another most successful program in this country for our kids was the after school programs.
Yes.
When young people would go from a structured environment in school to another structured environment in the community center and places like that. Because if the kids go home, they go into another area of disruption. They don't learn anything. No one forced them. You know, when you go to the after school program, the first thing they're going to do is insist that you do your homework. The second thing, they're going to insist that you focus and structure. I mean, so these are the things here that they can't get at home, but they could get in these programs. This was the most successful program, another program that they're talking about. They have cut now with a program that's working. Almost any program that's working successfully in our community, for some reason, it's the first thing that's on the chopping block. You know.
Absolutely.
Go
ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to say there's another program that's called the Youth Bill. A youth bill where young people who drop out of high school, they can go back to Youth Bill and get their GED. They got all kind of programs there that can fill the void of what they don't have, you know. But more programs like that refund those kind of programs. So in the back of the book, it's 10 areas that I think that could be successful in reparation. I'm not saying don't give any money. They're going to give money. And I think that Wall Street, many of those places on Wall Street started doing slavery. And a lot of them still exist because of slavery, you know?
Yes.
If they could find some way and means to fund these programs, it don't have to be the government. Find some people who would fund the program. Absolutely.
Can you talk about our HBCUs? Do you feel as though they are now receiving funding as never before? You know, you talk about reparations, but do you feel like, you know, people are trying to make up for some things through giving to our HBCUs?
Listen, I'm telling you, some reparation is going on now. And I tell you, Jeff Bezos, his wife, have given more money to HBCUs. That's the reason I said God work in mysterious ways. You know, sometimes when people want to take things away, this administration was giving HBCUs money. The first thing they want to do was cut out giving them money. And now even the college in Elizabeth City State University received $20 million, this largest donation they ever had. The food bank received another $3.1 million. So I'm saying, and she is studying giving away money. Now, there are also other African-American millionaires and billionaires who are giving money. You know, while we say that the reparation is not, but the reparations there and people don't call it, you know, companies in London is donating money to HBCUs, you know. That's why HBCUs are doing so well now than ever before, because they're getting, even what the government was giving them wasn't enough money. But these folks now, and these, as like I said again, that's the reason I say I don't hate nobody. I don't hate white people, but by and large, it's a lot of white people who understands what happened to us, understand slavery, and understand what has to be done. You know what I mean? So, and they're doing it. And I don't have the list in front of me, but I had a list of all those people who were giving back to HBCUs and giving back to communities. They're doing, you know.
Yes. Talk about us as a people. We just had Black History Month. Are we moving forward? As you look at your journey, what are some of the accomplishments that you think stand out in your mind about us as a people?
Well, I think number one, we have to look at where we was and where we are now. There were people who were talking about African Americans who was dumb. They couldn't learn to read. They couldn't do all this. But they told us, they said, here's what you have to do. If you want to get ahead in America, you have to go to school, get a good education, and you're going to be all right. You're going to climb into the middle class. Well, what happened? We did that.
Yes.
we did that. And we did it better than they are. Do you realize, I'm saying again, you can tell the program is working because in this administration, the first thing they want to do was get rid of DEI.
Yes.
Not realizing DEI didn't help Black folks. DEI primarily helped white women.
Yes.
All right. Now, what I'm saying is, with the people that was in jobs, the people who competed for jobs, all were well educated and many times overly qualified. And they said, well, wait a minute, the guy who didn't want to go to college, who was a farmer, the guy who worked for the railroad or something like that, they didn't go to college and get an education. And then they said, well, now they're taking our job. They're not taking your jobs. We are taking the job that we qualified for, because if you go through and look at DEI and you would check it out, you would find that 99% of those people who got those jobs, they had to either take a test, they had to do something in order to get those jobs. All right. And so when we did what they say we should do, it backfired on them. All right.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about the vote. Oh my goodness. Why should folk vote? We always hear, well, my vote don't count. I can't change things. But we're getting ready to go into the midterms. As a matter of fact, we just had the primaries in Texas. Can you just talk about the vote, how important it is, and what do you see as far as the midterms? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I know what's going to happen.
Good.
But I
Okay.
know what's going to happen. But here's what we have to do. Those of us who've been around a long time, it's called a grassroots campaign.
Yes.
The first thing I'm saying to you and to the listeners and everybody else, what you have to first do is sit down on an individual basis and talk to your children about what's going on.
Yes.
But you have to also make sure that your children are registered to vote, your cousins, your uncles, and your neighbors. We have to do this. This has to be a grassroots kind of thing. Make sure that everybody is registered to vote. Now, that's only half of it, but you educate them on what is going on. When things come on television, you sit around and you talk about it. You know what I mean? When they start talking about taking stuff away, like health care for people, and a lot of these people are affected by this, all right? And so there's people who live in the project, who are on Section 8 housing and who are on Medicaid and all these things. They thought a long time ago, oh, we can't lose this. Oh, they won't take this from you. Yes, they will take it from you. The only way to save it is through your vote. Now, that's the number one. Number two, once we get them educated and registered to vote, then we have to get them to the poll. All right? It's okay to be registered, but if you don't vote, it doesn't matter. So we have to get them to the polls, and this has to be a thing that they have no control over. And what I'm suggesting doesn't cost any money. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because even the major parties, they spend all the money in campaigns on radio, television, newspaper. They don't dump any money into the Black community for it. They want us all to volunteer. So what we need to do is understand that, but get our people registered to vote now. All right? Yes. Now, educate them now. Have a cookout and say, look, we're having a cookout. Come on over, we're going to cook some hot dog, but we want to talk a little bit about this and talk about the issues that's facing us, but not only us, but facing our people, educate them, get them excited about voting. And then when the midterm election comes, based on what is going on now, all right, I don't know. I know they're trying to change things now to make it look like they're doing something right. But I think that people are not fools, and it's just not Black folks, because, we can't do it alone. We're only 13% of the population. Mm-hmm. But we need to form coalitions with the Hispanic community, with other people in the community, and get a team of people together and say, we're going to make this change. That's what we need to do.
I love that. That is so true. We need to come together and, like you said, we need to register to vote, go out there and vote, and watch out for the tricks, because I've never seen in this is so many people in high places that want to disenfranchise us to keep us from voting, and well, just make it fair. Let everybody that can vote and register to vote and qualify to vote, let them vote, and let's do things right. We can do it, but we're gonna have to. Our leaders are gonna have to want to see everybody get a fair chance. Let's talk about Dr. Hezekiah Brown now. You remain productive. You just mentioned a couple of more books. Tell us about Hezekiah Brown and who he is right now in this time.
Well, I'm really spending most of my time. My wife is ill, and I'm spending most of my time doing what a husband's supposed to do, is to take care of them. But the other thing that I think that's important, the last book that I wrote, it says it's not where you started, it's where you finish. And I give my entire life story in this book, in terms of the things where I have made a significant difference. For example, being a federal mediator, it carried me to a lot of places, carried me to Russia, to Europe, and all those places. I've been there, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that as we go through life and so many different things hit you and so many different things happen to you, it's almost unbelievable. So the people who work in the healthcare industry right now, they receive every other weekend off.
Wow.
Well, as an arbitrator, I wrote a decision in 1989, and that decision was the basics for them to go back to negotiations, and they negotiated where individuals who work in the healthcare industry would receive every other weekend off. And that kind of spread it from New York to across the country. So that I take credit for doing myself. The second thing is, when I was young, I worked in a foundry, and I worked my way up and became president of the union, 5,000 employees.
Wow.
And became the youngest president ever elected to the union itself. Now, we were trying to negotiate 25 years and out for all the employees in Ford and Foundry. And guess what? They said the union, UAW and the General Motors were saying, oh, we don't have any information, or we can't do it, So I sat down with my secretary one time. I said, how many retirees do we have? She said, oh, we got to. So we did a questionnaire and sent it out to all of the employees who was retired. Did you have a respiratory illness, heart problem, all these things that happened? And it came back 98% of those people who retired had 1, 2, or 3 of those illnesses.
Wow.
To make a long story short, I went to a conference and I raised this and I raised it up. And then they looked at me like I was crazy. They cut off the recorder. So then a week later, after I came back to Buffalo, I get a call. They said, well, the president of the union, international president, and I remember 2 million employees, the national president want to see you. I said, okay. I thought maybe they're going to offer me a job. I went to Detroit to see them, and listen to what happened. When I walked in, they said, well, we understand that you did some research on Forge and Foundry workers. I said, yeah, I did. He said, give me a copy. I said, I didn't bring it with me, but I'll send you one. But to make a long story short, right now, and this going back 20 years ago or 25, they negotiated 25 years and out based on that report.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Whew. That is marvelous. A great accomplishment. Let's talk about men. This is our men's segment, men's issues. Let's talk about African-American men in particular. What message would you give them in this day and time? And how can what you've gone through, your journey and your experience, what would you say to help our young African-American men?
I think that African-American men should have to understand, all right, that they are role models, that everything that they do, somebody's watching them. The children are watching them, the community kids are watching them, and the world is watching them. You have to be a role model in your community to be effective. You have to be a good father in order for them to see what it's like. You know what I mean? I keep saying this, my son been married 39 years, so he's catching up,
Yeah.
Yeah. And in my family, most of the men in my family all been married over 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm saying that they have to understand what kids see is what they will be. All right. And we have to make sure that they see us in a positive way. It's not like it was before. Like many times you hear a preacher say, don't do as I do as I say do. No, no. You have to be a role model. You have to be able to point out to people and they can see you somebody. And the real reason why I'm saying this because kids grow up in drug infested areas. What do they
Yes.
become? They become drug dealers, prostitutes, girls grow up. That's what they be. If they see a positive person,
Yes.
that's what you want to be. You want to be the person to do that. Everybody, when I'm just saying, everywhere I've lived, and I carry this with me everywhere, that people migrate to me because they want to be me or be like me, or they like what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's tell our listeners and viewers where they can get your book and information.
Okay, my name is, as I say, Hez Brown. I'm gonna give you my email address and my telephone number. If you want to get either one of these books, and I have 4 of them, I should say, All Conflict Can Be Resolved, Resolving Conflict in a Global Economy, A Case for Reparation, and it's not where you started, it's where you end up. And the number is HEZ38@AOL.com. And the telephone number is 516-815-8679.
Okay. You all, please uh, get the books, read them to your children. And just like Dr. Brown said, get around the table, discuss these things, come and get your little cliques together, family together. As I think about it, Dr. Brown, I think about my mom and my grandma and grandpa and them, uncles. That's what they used to do. They used to sit around and I would hear political conversations at the table. And, we would sit around and we would look at, the news and things like that. And they would just talk and give their, opinions and perspective on what they thought was going on and how they could resolve it. They were really involved. And so I recommend to families, all families, especially African American families, to do the same. Start doing that. Get the books. Start reading them and discuss it with your children and your grandchildren. Don't leave them in the dark. Don't leave them ignorant to what's happening in the world and how they can live a better and prosperous life regardless of what's happening, regardless of what's going on. So we recommend the book, Dr. Brown. I always talk about you. My husband and I, we read your books. I'm going to get the newest ones, and I'm going to continue to talk to my children, my grandson. My grandson got a chance to meet Vice President Kamala Harris. My son had this feeling of going to DC. He went to DC and he was going to go shop. And his son, he's only, at the time he was about 5. He said, I want to go in this store. I want to go in this particular store in Washington, DC. So young, but just wanted to go there for some reason. And my son took him there. And all of a sudden, he saw a crowd coming down the street. He didn't know what was happening. And all of a sudden, he saw the Vice President of the United States. And she said to my grandson, come here, young leader. Woo, we got a picture and everything of it. It was just a marvelous time. He said he knew who she was. He's 5. He was 5 then. Said, I knew who she was because in school and at home, they have had the conversation of the vice president and her running for office and things like that. But that was a really wonderful opportunity to see someone in that position and to my grandson to see, that, wow, this thing right here is real. And people in our culture and our race, they are moving toward some of the highest positions in the world. And they have accomplished that. Barack Obama as president, Vice President Kamala Harris, her running for the office of the presidency. And just to let him see that, just for him to see that was just a mighty, mighty experienced to our family.
Yeah, I can say one last thing.
Yes.
You know, African American men primarily are involved in sports. And that's the
Yes.
number one thing on their list. You know, on Sunday afternoon, forget about anything. On any other day, they do that. What we have to do is say, okay, it's all right to watch sports. It's all right to watch basketball and football, but spend half of the time that you spend watching those games and participating, spend half of the time with your children. It's a,
Yes. That
Mhm.
is so true. That is so true. Dr. Hezekiah Brown, we just honor you. Thank you. Your journey is just so beautiful. As I look at it, I hear you. I've read about, the things that you've accomplished. What a mighty journey. And you give all credit to God. Tell us about that part before we tell folk about where they can get the book again, about God as a part of this journey.
Yeah, as I said again a long time, you know, I'm a fearful person. I fear God, but not only that, but I'm a godly person in a sense. And no matter what I do, God is always included as a first part of it itself, because I'm a witness that there's no way under this sun could I have accomplished what I did without the support and the grace of God.
Mm.
Here's what God is. Whatever is for you, you're going to get it and can't nobody else take it. And that was proven in all those places where I became a first. Many of those cases where when I was a federal mediator, I never knew what mediators did until I became one. And that was
Wow.
all about God. There were millions of people across the country would love to have had that job. You know what I mean? There are all these other things that I did. First, I don't say I did, God did, but God put me in position to do those things, you know what I mean? Because God knew where my heart was. If your heart is in the right place, your head is going to be in the right place, and somebody's going to watch you, and somebody's going to value you and what you do, and you will be all right. But if you don't take time and respect and believe in prayer, because I can tell you, prayer works. Believe me when I tell you it works. Maybe not when you want it to, because God is an on-time God, but sometimes when you decide to pray after it's all over, but pray before.
Yes. We want to say hello to Denise Sherrod. She's on Instagram. Sheila Robbins on Facebook. We got so many people here on TikTok listening to you. We want you to give that information again where they can get the books. And I want you all to get the books. Order the books. These are great books. So Dr. Brown, let them know where they can get all your books from.
You can do it from, as I said again, my email address is hez38@aol.com. And then my telephone number is 516-815-8679. Either do it through email or either buzz me on the telephone.
All right. We want to say thank you again. Thank you for your life journey, for your family, for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you will do, all your accomplishment. We honor you and we thank you so much for being on this earth, changing many a thing. We want to
Thank you
say
so
God
much.
bless you. We want you to
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful, wonderful day. I
Yeah,
love
thank
to
you.
your wife.
All right, I'll tell her in a minute as soon as I get in. Okay, but thank you so much for having me on, and thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are absolutely the best that I'm known, and keep up the good works.
Thank you
All right.
so much. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So, wow, that was Dr. Hezekiah Brown. Great, great, great person who's done a lot of things. As I listen to Dr. Brown, Dr. Hez Brown, he talks about his journey in such a positive way. And I'm sure with, coming up in the time that he came up as a young man and until now, he's had challenges and some ups and downs, but you hear a lot more about how God has opened the door and made a way for him to complete and continue to complete his assignment. And I just always just I'm in awe that he's done so many things and he's done it in excellence. He's caring for his wife now who is sick, and he's doing that in excellence. You hear him, he said he's taking the time to do that. You know, this is his season right now to make sure she gets everything she wants and needs from him. It is a beautiful, beautiful, it sounds like a beautiful story, beautiful love story. His life, his journey, it's just something about it that really intrigues me. And I just want to recommend that you all get those books. You all make sure you take the time to read it. Get your book club. Get your book club and gather around the table, or either get on Zoom and read those books and share them with your children and your grandchildren and your relatives and friends. Let's get serious, because I tell you what, the world is changing right before our very eyes. And we need to get serious about life. Yeah, we're going to have our good times and, you know, the things that we're into, we're going to work. But these are serious times. And we really, really need to know what's going on. And we need to know what's going on with somebody and people that have journeyed. And they know the changes and they see it, and they can give you why some of these things are happening and what to do as these things happening, so you can survive, so you can have an abundant life, a good life, regardless of what's going on. He mentioned God being in his life and providing all those open doors. And regardless of the conditions, regardless of what was going on, and we know, you know, those times were also challenging, you know, I'm sure as he grew up, and those times were challenging, but God, but being able to have that positive outlook and that support system, you know, that is important for our children. They have to know they have a place to settle in when things are going the way they're going in our world. They need to know that there's stability. They need to know that there's hope. They need to know it's education and opportunity, even though we are dealing with some rough times. We have to make that place for them. Please don't forget them, you know, and all that we do. Don't leave your children out. Don't leave communicating with them about serious issues out. Don't leave them without knowing what voting is. Take them when you vote. Take them if they're young. If they're voting age 18, encourage them to go out and vote. Get involved in the community. Get involved with some things that are serious, that things that impact our lives. And so we have a job to do. You know, I know you all are noticing what's going on with this war and things like that. A lot of people are unsure of our now and our future. But again, we've got to have thoughts and hope that we can make changes. We can go to the polls. We can pay attention. And we can create an environment for ourselves that may be different from what we see out there. You know, it may be chaos or whatever, but in God and in our lives, we can have peace, and we can still be productive, and we can still accomplish many great things. We can give, we can care for folk, we can be kind. The things that we can do. We can do a lot of things. We can love, we can forgive, and we can make things better for the world. So I want to thank you. I got a few minutes on TikTok, but those that are on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram, make sure you all follow us and subscribe to the channel. Tell folk about the show. We're on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 a.m. We also come on at night with FYI After Dark. That's at 6 p.m. on Mondays. I'm going to soon have, and we're going to start on TikTok, Yolanda Hinton, Yolanda the Lady, a dialogue and conversation with Yolanda the Lady. That'll soon come. I'll give you all the date and the platform when we get started on that. But we're going to talk. We're going to talk. We're going to share. And one thing about TikTok, we have friends that come from all over the world, Africa, we've got them everywhere, Europe. We have, of course, those here in this country, but so many other countries are here, Asia, so many people that are on TikTok with us. And we want to talk. We want to have that conversation. We want to know how we can communicate more with one another. We want to make sure we can have that conversation about the things you go through, the things you're concerned about, your culture and things like that. So I will announce Yolanda Hinton, a conversation with the lady, and when we'll be on that platform as well. So keep listening, keep tuning in, keep supporting, and we definitely will continue to support you. So be blessed. It's been a wonderful, wonderful day so far. We're just loving the weather here in Hampton Roads, and we're just loving life, actually. We're loving what God is doing and what we are still moving toward. With FYI, we are motivating, inspiring, and energizing the community to rise above mere survival and find success for everybody. So we're bringing wonderful guests like Dr. Brown on. We're bringing special guests on to tell you about their story and their lifestyle and the things that they've accomplished. We bring in great subject matter and topics. We have a time of giving where we just want to give to those that have listened and supported us. And we address men issues, women's issues, politics, entertainment, you name it. This month is Women's History Month, so we're going to be focusing on our women's history starting on Friday. So please don't forget to join us at 9:30 a.m. We're going to introduce that segment, and we're going to just highlight and uplift those ladies, those women that are doing great things. Now, women, we have a job to do. A lot of us went to the polls and we voted for folk that was against our best interest. We can't do that with the midterms now. Now, ladies, we're going to get together, and that's what we're going to talk about this month, the month of March with Women's History Month, how we can come together and do what's best for us as women, as ladies. We've got to come together. We cannot do what we did in the election by promising to vote for, our best interest. The next thing you know, your best interest went down the drain. A lot of women who wanted certain rights, it went right down the drain, right in front of your very eyes. And so we want to make sure women have a chance for education, health, to be able to do the things that they were called to do. And God has given them the ability to do. So ladies, we're going to look out for ourselves. We want you to join us. This month, we're going to highlight a lot of great speakers, and we're going to bring in speakers and people that have done some marvelous things in our world, ladies that have really accomplished great things in our world. So look, I'm going to go. If I didn't get to your name, forgive me, but we will see on the chat who is on, and we will respond. So be blessed. TikTok is gone. TikTok, bye-bye. Instagram, thank you. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook Live. On Instagram, we have Mr._ISHWARYANBANISHI. They join us. All those on Facebook. God bless you. We'll see you on Friday, on Fun Friday. We're going to introduce our March segment, our women's segment then. So be blessed. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.